This is the Mitsubishi Colt, or should I say the brother of the Renault Clio. Because the Mitsubishi Colt is basically the same car, same platform, same looks, and a lot of same technical things. But it is actually 3,500 euros cheaper. But what do you get for that price? Well, let's find out in this video, and let's get right into it. So the Mitsubishi Colt was kind of retired in 2012, but came back now as this variant, which is, like I said, the Renault Clio basically. But the thing is, it is a little bit cheaper. So the starting price of this Mitsubishi, 15,990, and around 3,300 more for the Renault Clio. However, if you pick this up, you already get quite a decent car. You can get 4 different variants. You can get the basic, the plus, the edition, and also the top variant. We have it standing in the edition, which in my opinion is one of the best ones, where you get most of the things that you want and some of the things you don't really need, but you get them in the top variant. The way the car is standing here, we have the second highest engine, so the mid-engine, which is a turbocharged engine. We'll look at that here in a second. Around 22,040 euros with all the extras. For instance, also the royal blue color on here for 750 euros extra. In the front, it looks obviously a little bit different than the Renault Clio, especially here in the center, Mitsubishi logo, and also this with a little bit of air intakes down here and also here. We get full LED lights here, and the thing that is quite similar to the Renault Clio is your daytime running light, which obviously looks very similar, with also an air curtain here on the side on both sides. Let's look under the hood to see the 3 different engine variants that you can pick up for this car. You can pick the 67 horsepower engine, which is going to be a 1-liter 3-cylinder engine with a 5-speed manual gearbox. Then you can also pick this one up, which is the same engine just with a turbocharger, so 30 horsepower more, 97 horsepower with also 160 newton meters, 0 to 100, 12.2 seconds with a top speed of 180 kilometers an hour, and also a 6-speed manual gearbox. Then you can also pick up the only automatic gearbox that you can get, which is going to be the full hybrid variant with a 1.6 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, which is going to produce a total of 143 horsepower. So if you want an automatic gearbox, that's the only one you can pick up. But this one is still plenty of enough power, and with a 6-speed manual gearbox, you're obviously going to have that extra gear compared to the 5-speed manual gearbox. And on the back, again, a fairly Renault Clio looking design. That's not a bad thing, it's still a decent looking car. A little bit of a lip spoiler up here, rear tinted windows, Mitsubishi logo. Then you can see rear view camera is implemented like this. If you don't get the rear view camera, you're not going to have this module here, so it's just flat. The Renault does it a little bit better because the Renault logo is implemented into the rear view camera, so it just looks a lot better. Then you have the Colt logo down there and a little bit of a diffuser, which really you can't see much, with also this chrome element here and LED lights on the back. When you open the trunk, and in here you're gonna have 391 liters up to 1,069, so quite a lot actually. You also have a false floor in here, so if you open that, you're obviously going to have a little bit more storage space, and you can take that fully out as well. When you flip over the seats, you are going to have a little bit of a loading gap there, so a little bit of a barrier when you're trying to put something in there, and also a light on the side, but that's about it. You can also get a towing hook, where you're going to be able to tow up to 900 kilograms, which again is not bad at all. And the dimensions of the car are going to be 4 meters and 5 centimeters long, 1 meter and 44 tall, and also 1 meter and 80 wide without the side mirrors extended. The side mirrors are going to be automatically foldable, if I can find the key. There we go. There you go, they can fold in automatically. And we also have a wheelbase of 2 meters and 58 centimeters. Let's open that again. We also have a fuel tank in here of 42 liter of size with a fuel consumption for this engine, WLTP 5.3 liters. When it comes to the the rims, you can choose between 15 up to 17-inch rims. We have the 17-inch rims on here with the Eco Contact 6, which are going to be 205s in the front, and I think also 205s in the rear. Yeah, with 45s. So fairly decent looking rims in my opinion as well, definitely not bad. Like I said, automatically foldable side mirrors, fairly big windows on here with also a window in here, which is nice for your surrounding view. Just like any new Renault or also some Mitsubishi cars, you open the car here on the back with that lever up on the top. Doesn't sound bad. In my opinion, a fairly decent design and a fairly compact one with only a turning circle of 10.4 meters. So therefore very compact in the city. You're not going to have problems finding any parking spots. And one thing that you will also notice is that in the rear you are going to get drum brakes. If you get the top variant, you will also get disc brakes in the rear, just like in the front. And now let's take a look at the seating position in the back. I'm 1.80 meters tall, 5'11", and the seat is fairly squishy, so I can put my knees in there fairly nicely. Seat is adjusted to me in the front. I do like to sit with this type of car fairly low down, so it's in the lowest position, and I can definitely tell that because my feet don't have that much space below that. You can see here there's going to be a lot more space. Oh my god, there we go. I can basically put it all the way down, so that's going to be a little bit nicer, so you can just put the seat up a little bit higher. You'll have a little bit more footroom. But what you will notice is my upper thighs are not really supported here, so I do have to sit like this for a longer period in order to kind of, well, get a comfortable position in here for a longer time. Knee room is not too much, so it is a fairly tight fit in here. Well, not fairly tight, it's still completely okay, but for a longer time it's not going to be the most comfortable position in here. However, headroom is quite plenty. I've got about this much space. And then let's take a look at the quality on the side. Obviously plastic almost everywhere. Up here, down here, hard plastic down there. But here is a little bit nicer material. So if you put your hand up here or your elbow, it's gonna be not too bad. But at this price point, I'm not expecting much quality there. In the center, however, I'm missing USB-Cs here. That would have been a little bit nicer, especially for longer journeys, because you're gonna have to put them all the way in the front, and there we only have USB, so not USB-Cs. So that's one thing that might have been nice. We also don't have a center console where we can put down anything, but we do have very nice, easy to get isofix points, so you can put your child seat in here without having a problem. And join me in the inside, where again, like I already mentioned, it's not too much difference apart from the steering wheel. We get adaptive cruise control and stuff like that. We'll go into that in a second. Digital cockpit, you can also upgrade that to a full 10.25-inch digital cockpit if you get the top variant. We go to infotainment display. I'll just quickly start up the car to look at it. Which is going to get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto Wireless. It's not going to be the latest variant of the infotainment display that we get in, for instance, the new Renault models. But in here, everything you kind of need: Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and you can even go in here, navigation. That's also going to be in Google Maps. So again, if you just want to use that, you can also use that. But if you have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto Wireless, I'm most of the time just going to use this. Heated seats and also a heated steering wheel with this variant, which is quite nice. Automatic climatization in here, climate control, which is again quite nice. 2 USBs and also a 12-volt down here, as well as an inductive loading space. We obviously have our 6-speed manual gearbox, and let's also quickly look at the reversing camera for that, which is not the highest quality, but you get one, which again is not bad at all, with also trajectory lines, which will also move. When it comes to the quality inside, it is hard plastic most of the times with a little bit of softer materials, which is definitely not bad. I kind of expected for this price point. Most of the manufacturers, even down here, are going to give you hard plastic even in higher classes. So let's start off driving this, and also we do have a physical parking brake here, so we can just remove that. And the thing about this gearbox is, I've mentioned this lots of times, I'm not the best driver when it comes to manual gearboxes, but it is very easy to drive. So we're just going to rotate here, which is nice because the turning circle of this car is also quite low. We're just looking at a turning circle of around 10.4 meters, perfect for the city, allowing you to just very easily maneuver around, with also that camera, which is going to help you in those cases. Surrounding view of this car is also quite nice because you have those smaller windows here in the front, which will eliminate your A-pillar kind of blind spot. In the back, fairly big window. You just get a little bit of a bigger pillar there for your C-pillar, but that's about it. And therefore, definitely not a bad surrounding view, especially in the city with the camera. You're not going to have any issues driving around here. You're not going to have any hill assist when it comes to starting, driving the car up a hill. Well, if you're accelerating from a hill, which I've noticed, because then most of the times when I'm driving, I'm not the greatest when it comes to accelerating at hills. But let's look at the kick here. This is at a fairly low. Let's go like this, and then that's the turbo kicking in. Uphill, definitely not bad. And that's the thing about this gearbox, about this engine. I definitely pick up the turbocharged one because it is just a nicer one for getting that kick when you're, for instance, trying to accelerate around somewhere. When you're driving a little bit slower, it's just a little bit more smoother, and you have that 6-speed gearbox, which gives you that additional gear at higher speeds, which is definitely not bad. And what you hear there is going to be the EU warning assistant, and for that you can now also turn that off by just simply pressing on this button here on the left twice, which is your My Safety Perso, which you can set up your own personal safety settings, which I've adjusted now to no lane keeping assistant and stuff like that. So just a little bit nicer. You can just simply press that twice and it's easily gone and not gonna annoy you anymore. Adaptive cruise control we have on here. We also have blind spot assistance, which is again quite nice. With that rear view camera, you're fairly well equipped here, even at this price point of 22,000. And surrounding sound, well, not surrounding sound, but outside noise here, even at 90 kilometers an hour, actually sounds fairly decent and definitely not giving you any headaches, and you can just enjoy a good cruise here. Wind noise also not that prominent, even though it is a little bit windy today, but not too windy. So even at 90 here, I think it's a fairly decent, well, sound isolation in here. One thing that I will talk about, however, is that I'm not the biggest fan of. We do have the manual gearbox in here, and if you look at the digital cockpit, I'm currently not seeing my RPMs anywhere. The only way you can kind of see it if you go through the views and you switch it up so that you have this view, and then you can see RPMs, but you only get that line. There's nothing that indicates you at what RPMs you're currently at, if you're at 1,000, 2,000, or whatever you are at. It doesn't show you that, which is a little bit annoying, because for me, if like I said, I need that kind of visual representation of what my RPMs are at 1,000 or at 2,000 to see if I need to shift or not. I mean, you can kind of see what you need to be at. In my opinion, it's just a little bit hard, especially for people who are driving this car for the first time, or this is their first car that they're getting. Then I kind of would like to see like 1,000 or 2,000 RPMs. This is just a little bit something headache that, well, it requires you to just think a little bit more, even though you don't really want to be able to think a little bit more. You just want to look at it, know what RPMs you're at, and that's it. You also have one different drive mode in here, which is the Eco. That's just going to make the car a little bit more or less responsive and stuff like that. I haven't really noticed a big difference there. If you get the top variant, you will also be able to get those My Sense, so your different drive modes, for instance, sports, individual, and stuff like that, and comfort. You're not going to have that in here. You just get that if you are looking at the highest variant. Otherwise, the gearbox does a good job. It goes in easily. Gear shifts are going to be fairly easy. And again, it's an engine that it's going to be fairly hard to stall. I've not been able to achieve that yet. And in my opinion, just a very easy one to drive. And the suspension here also is quite nicely set up for a comfortable driving experience. You're not going to be looking at any, well, very bumps that are going to hurt you in the back. That's a little bit a bigger one. Smoothens up quite nicely. So in general, a fairly nice driving experience, especially here in the city, where you're going to have a good car for the city if you're looking for parking spots, nice little turning circle, and in general, a fairly compact and nice car to drive. Really not much to complain about. When it comes to the consumption, 5.3 is claimed. We're currently looking at 7.5. However, the thing about the car, if you go in, for instance, the info, driver, eco, you have to kind of save it to be able to see at what the past consumption was. So since we've reset it, 7.5 liters, which does include the drive towards there, which was a little bit more sporty and therefore really not that representative. But now that we've been driving a little bit more eco-friendly, it's gone down to 7.5, and therefore I think a fairly decent consumption. You can definitely get it down to those 5.3 if you are driving a lot more eco-friendly. So what is my final verdict on the car? Well, let's take a look at some competitors. You have an MG3, for instance, you have a Dacia Sandero, you have a Seat Ibiza, you have a Renault Clio. All of them are not bad cars and definitely good for the price point. This car is going to be the second cheapest one. The Dacia Sandero is the only one that's going to be a little bit cheaper compared to Renault Clio. Renault Clio, you get a couple more standard features and a couple other things. But still, this is a really good spec'd out car, and there's really no KO criteria that's going to completely eliminate this car from your shortlist. It's an all-rounder. It's good for the price. We have it standing here in 22,000 euros. You get infotainment display, which is good, good assistant features, a good design on the outside, and a fairly nice, well, just comfort seating position inside. And there's really nothing that I've noticed that I would really just eliminate this car from my shortlist. It's a fairly decent car, and if you have one, let me know in the comments, what do you think of this car? And we'll see you next time. Make sure to like, subscribe. Bye-bye. Yeah.